She never owned the house. She never had a mortgage. One person that I looked up to my whole life about being a homeowner was my mother. And I'm finding out at 25 when I get ready to buy my house, she wasn't a homeowner.
Yes.
That house created so many memories, Ronnie. But my mom didn't own the home. If she ever lost that home and we lost all those memories and I couldn't help her buy that home, I would have failed. I found my purpose a long time ago, Ronnie. That's why I'm still in the game.
Welcome back to another episode of the Off Script podcast. And by now, y'all know how I go. I get excited about every guest I have on here, and today's guest is absolutely no exception. This man is a man that I met maybe 8 years ago. And one of the things that I'm not ashamed to admit is when I met him, I immediately had a lot of respect for him. And the mutual friend of ours that introduced us had glowing remarks to say about him, and I could see it instantly upon our first interaction. Before I hype him up too much and go into a deep introduction, I'm going to formally introduce you to my guest today, Mr. Damian Gilbert.
Thank you, man.
Damian.
Thank you.
Thank you for making the time to be here, man. I know you're a man that travels a lot, as we talked about off air.
Yes.
And you making the time to be here today means a lot to me. And if I could share one thing,
Sure.
And this is deeply vulnerable and transparent.
Yeah.
But when you hit me and showed an interest in being on the podcast, I was actually out with my wife.
Wow. Okay.
And so I saw it. She'd gone to the restroom. Yeah. I saw it. And man, I may have had a teen girl squeal. I was excited to say the least.
Hey, man, listen, I have, before I start talking about me, man, I have followed you. I have watched you in the community. And I'm at the age now where I watch your character. I watch your energy. I watch how you move. And I watched how you've been a father. I watch all these things, right? And then I started picking up your podcast. I'm like, man, this guy, I knew you were a dynamic man. You were a great smile, great father, great family man. I see you around. But then I started to hear your stories on the podcast. And so, again, like you, I'm a podcast guy. We talked about that. When I'm working out, I'm listening to podcasts. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
Listening to podcasts. Let me turn this off. And so I started hearing, I was like, okay, man, I feel even more connected to him. So I felt our energies aligned, right? As men, our energies aligned as family men. I saw you with your kids at the game. You saw me with my son. So all of those things started connecting, and so that's what made me want to make sure that I was here. And I watched you, and I said, man, I want to be intentional in being in front of and talking to other folks that share my same energy.
Wow.
You share my same, not just as a father, but just the energy, how you treat people. Everybody that knows you knows this about you. You're great to be around. I said, man, I'm going to do this podcast with this man.
Wow.
So I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you for accepting.
Thank you for that. I received that.
Yeah.
We can cut.
Yeah. We're done.
Yeah, we're done here.
It's a wrap. Right.
No, I really appreciate that, Damian. Seriously, hearing that from you really goes a long way with me, and I appreciate you sharing that. Seriously.
No, it's all real.
Thank you. Well, in pure podcast decorum, I'm going to give you an opportunity to introduce our audience to you, because some people may know you. Yeah, I have a sneaky suspicion most of them do, but for the few that don't, go ahead and tell them about yourself.
Don't flatter me. Most of them probably do not. So, first of all, Damian Gilbert. I always try to introduce myself as a father first. A lot of people say, "Hey, I'm a VP of whatever I do." I am a father. I'm a family man, and I'm a lover of family first and foremost. So that is my passion. I'll talk about my sons later on, but. Originally from California, Damian Gilbert from Sacramento, California. I was born in Southern California.
Okay.
Was raised in Northern California, a community called Citrus Heights right outside of Sacramento. So migrated here years ago, 97. I don't want to say that too loud. But yeah, in 93, I came to college and graduated from Birmingham Southern and met a wonderful woman, had children with, and I've got 3 sons later. I am still in the South, never went back. My whole family is still in California, man. So it's been a great journey for me.
Yeah.
It's been a great journey, and hopefully we can kind of unpack a little bit of that. But
I would love to.
Man, it's been a great journey. I've got 3 sons: Solomon Gilbert, who is 21, Nehemiah Gilbert, who is 20. He is at Arizona State. Solomon's about to graduate, not only from school but out my pocket at USC.
Okay.
And then I've got one of my, all 3 of my sons are close, but as my oldest son, who is 31, as he's gotten older, we've gotten closer, which is it's kind of a beautiful and dynamic, kind of a butterfly effect of how we've gotten closer. So that's a whole nother story on its own. So
Okay.
probably don't have enough time to talk about that one.
Ooh,
that journey.
You've intrigued me because fatherhood is something I could talk about for sure.
Well, listen, if you want to get into it, I'll talk real quickly. I had him when I was a sophomore in college. And we've been close. We've been tight. He used to be in my dorms. I played college basketball at Birmingham Southern.
Okay.
So he has been there. He is he was I had him with my college sweetheart, not my wife after college. So hence, so he has been there from day one. He lived in Dadeville, Alabama, which is about an hour and 30 going towards Auburn. But been in his life, I grew up without my father. He lived in Southern California. We left when I was about 4 years old. And so how I was a father to Demarius, which is my 31-year-old now, informed me. My relationship with my father informed me how to be a father to Demarius, my oldest. Long story short, I saw my father once a year up until I was 18 years old. Okay, once a year, right? The reality is, I said, anytime I have my own children, I knew that when I had my own children, I knew this even when I was in college when I had Demarius, is that I was going to be there. But the one thing that I learned as a father, and I heard you on the phone with your son, is I tell him I love you.
Mm.
So 18, again, let's step back. I saw my son, my father. I'm sorry, my father. The reason I say father and son because they look so much alike. It's really scary.
Okay.
I'm starting to merge the two together.
Yeah.
But there was no doubt that my father loved me. For certain circumstances, he couldn't see me. Okay, but what he would do every time he got off the phone with me, he said, "Son, I love you." And I as I reflected, as I started getting older, I started realizing, man, I didn't feel like I missed my father. A lot of people say, man, I was an angry young guy growing up without his father. My mother was dynamic, a strong woman, never talked negatively about my father. So I never had a negative view of my father. The one thing that my father always said I talked to him probably once every other week. He'd always say, "Son, I love you." And so now when I talk to my sons, before I get off the phone, when I talk to my sons, it's, "I love you, son."
Mm.
I don't care how tough the conversation is. I've said it to their face. I've hugged them. I've disciplined them, but I always tell them I love them. That has informed me, right, as a father. But it's also in my spirit when I'm walking around talking to people that some people just need love, man.
Yeah.
People just need love, man. And we talked about kind of discourse amongst friends and whatnot. And that's one thing that's devoid is it's okay to say, "I love you, brother." I tell my friends, man, I love you.
Yeah.
It kind of jars some people. But it's how I move. And whether I say it or not, people know that spirit about me, that I love you.
Yeah.
And I think more of us need to voice that. I know a lot of people do that with their kids and family, but we need more of that. Just discourse and just talking to average people that are close to you.
Yeah.
I love you.
And the value there that you mentioned of even after tough conversations.
Yes.
And I can say this with at the time of this recording, my son is 12. Mm-hmm. So you remember that those strange years of middle school.
Yes.
We are on the foundation of having some tough conversations. Absolutely. And I'm learning more about him, and it frustrates me.
Yes.
But there's got to be grace there because he's 12, and I'm thankful for my mom,
right,
who consistently reminds me that I was 12 once.
Yeah.
But you triggered something in me positively, because as hard as it has been sometimes after the conclusion of some of those conversations, I got to tell him I love him, and yeah. I'm a physical guy, yeah. So I'm a hug my sons, both of them, and my oldest son cannot stand it, yeah. But I don't care. Yeah. I'm planting seeds, so to hear you say that was
man,
resonated with
we
me.
grew up, our fathers grew grew up in a different time. That wasn't, which again, when I think about my father in that time, that was kind of a revolutionary. For him to say, son, I love you. I don't know about your relationship with your father. But when I think back to it, I've seen a lot of men that do not say they love their children. They love them. They're doing all the things and they love them, but they don't say those words.
Yeah.
They don't say those words. And some of them don't even hug. I've seen that in the community growing up. Oops, sorry about that.
Sorry.
But again, that's just foundational. But I'm a father of 3 sons again, and that's my world. What I do by my job, I'm a vice president of mortgage production at Huntington, now Cadence Bank. I'm sorry, backwards. Let me go back because I'm now I'm at Huntington. Used to be Cadence Bank.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm still getting used to it. It's only been about 30, 45 days.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Okay. So, David, you've intrigued me so much. Like, and the podcast is off script, so like, there's not a traditional format for the conversation. Okay. So, forgive me. Forgive me. This is a screwball. Yeah. But I was concerned. Not concerned. I was intrigued by Sacramento to Birmingham, and you said basketball brought you here.
Yes.
Okay. So. Let me hear about your hoops, man. I want to hear about it. I'm a sports guy.
Okay. Well, we go. I love, when I say I love basketball, I grew up playing basketball. There was my dad, which is ironic. I have to caveat this. My father played college basketball. Okay. I didn't know that until I started enjoying basketball and into high school, right? I didn't know that. He had another son that is 15 years older than me. He had his son when he was in college, which is, again, all these things are starting to be unveiled to me, right? And I'll get to how I got from Sacramento.
Okay.
But I think it's an important note to think about epigenetics, what like your the imprint of your family lifestyle and things that you're destined to do. My father got a master's in college, played college basketball in Santa Barbara, California. I didn't know my brother until I was 22 when my father passed. I met him at the funeral. But my brother, who was about 15 years older than me, played college basketball, got a master's, MBA, finance guy. I'm the same. I played college basketball, MBA. It's uncanny, the epigenetics and what is remembered through our genes. It's amazing. So that's a whole nother story, right? Yeah. So you just think about that. That's something to me that every time I look back at it, I'm like, man, my father was powerful. I don't know if he was speaking it, he was praying it. He had 2 sons that didn't know each other that end up doing the same thing. Something there. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But how did I get from Sacramento to Birmingham? So played high school basketball, was all city, did the AAU circuit back in California. And my claim to fame, I always tell, if you're a basketball guy, this guy probably doesn't even know, and this may be the first time on camera that I'm saying this. I went down to San Francisco. Sacramento's probably about an hour from San Francisco. Drove down there on a Saturday morning, super excited. It was AAU tryouts, and we were kind of doing pickup, and it was back in had to be about 92. And this guy walks in. I'm like, dang, that guy looks familiar. It's Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd, right? So I grew up in this era, right? He's walking in, and it was early in the morning. He's eating, it looked like a Egg McMuffin or whatever. Completely he just coming in. He got flip-flops on, and, we're stretching, we're doing layups, we're going hard. He's walking in, and there was a guy that went on to play at USC. He was one of his good friends out of Oakland. They both walk in. We're all, they're telling us to suit up, and he's just kind of just lounging around. And I knew who Jason Kidd was just because, on the West Coast, you knew this guy was like next up.
Yeah.
He was a year before me. But he was, at that point, getting ready to go to Cal. Right?
Okay.
But he just came in, I guess, for the pickup. He gets on the court. I said, man, I'm going to lock this dude up. I got to really see. So if anybody understands basketball, we got him he grabbed the ball. He just literally put the sandwich down, didn't stretch, didn't do anything. Got the ball.
He laced up though, right?
So what?
He laced up because you said
Oh,
he had the flip.
he took, put his shoes on.
Okay.
Like he ran out there and said, "Hey man, give me the ball." He got the ball inbound, and so one of my partners and I said, "Man, let's lock this dude up." We trap him, and I ripped him. I got him. He probably doesn't remember that, but that is my claim to fame.
Okay.
He went the next 30 minutes and rattled off probably about 40 yards. So, but that is my claim to fame.
Y'all got him going.
Yeah, got him going. Yeah, he purged the Egg McMuffin, whatever it was, and just got to work. That's when I realized there was a difference.
Yeah.
Talent, right?
Wow.
But yeah, so played AAU basketball. I was a junior at that time and went on. And I wanted to play on the West Coast. I wanted to play in the Pac-10. I was good, but I wasn't good enough to play in the Pac-10. My mother's originally from Mobile, Alabama.
Oh, wow.
Originally from Mobile. And so I've been coming back and forth to the South since I was 2 years old. I've been traveling since I was 2. So I've always I was the kid from the West Coast or from, you hear from New York coming down to grandma's house for the summer. I was that kid.
Yeah.
So I had it. I was like, man, if I'm not going to play here, I got some offers like in Montana and Idaho, St. Mary's, so really mid-major schools.
Okay.
I wanted to be in the Pac-10. It was just, in my mind, I wanted to be there. So I ended up getting some offers, and I said, I'm just going to go south and try to play at South Alabama, stay with my grandmother, kind of walk on. That didn't happen, so I ended up playing at a junior college for a year, and then did really well. Was one of the top players in the country at the JUCO level, and ended up going to Birmingham Southern. I wanted to stay close because remember at that time my son was about to be born, so I couldn't go back west. I couldn't go north, which I wanted to either end up going to the East Coast. So I ended up staying as close. And at that point, education was important to me.
Yes.
Staying close to my son was important. So this place called Birmingham Southern, which I didn't know what that was, recruited me. I took a trip, and I was like, man, it's actually in a city.
Yeah.
It's not Mobile. It's actually in a city in Alabama. I said, I can see myself actually living here. So that's how I ended up at Birmingham Southern. Had an amazing time there with Coach Reboll, legendary coach. Had some amazing friends that I gained at Birmingham Southern, and the rest is history.
Birmingham Southern has some hoop squads, though.
I tell everybody, man, we probably could go up against anybody in the country. It was just a height issue.
Yes.
In terms of guard play, man, we had some dogs, man. Yeah. We had some real dogs. I can rattle those guys off all day. But that's how I got here.
Okay, cool. That man, that's very interesting, and thank you for sharing that. Absolutely. So you finished Birmingham Southern, and what happens next?
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny because my middle son, Solomon, who's graduating at USC, is going through, and I remember vividly. The one thing when I was in college, I knew that I had to get a job. I was so far from home that, one, I had a son at this point that was about 2.5 years old. I couldn't leave him. I made a vow to my son when he was a baby. I don't know if you remember, if anybody's watched Roots, but I took my son and lifted him up and said, behold, the only thing that's greater than you. I did that at night with my son. I said, I will never leave you. I will never leave you, or you'll have to come with me. And I knew at that point that I had to stay in Alabama, okay? So it was really funny. I got a business degree, and one of my roommates, his name is Paul Fleming. He was a senior. I was a sophomore coming in, and he was wearing these ties. I'm like, man, that guy looks kind of cool. And so I started asking, so what do you do? Man, I'm about to start, interviewing. I'm going to be working at the bank. And to me, the idea of a black man, you don't see a lot of that on the West Coast, a black man at a bank wearing a tie, and he was super smart. And I was like, man, that's something I think I would love to. I would love to do that. I didn't know I wanted to go into what I do now, into mortgages. I kind of stumbled into that. But the fact that I started going to the Career Services Center, and I said, man, I want to make sure that I get interviews for anybody that comes on campus. At that time, they don't do that really that much now at the universities, but the college or the businesses would come to the Career Services, and they would just set up interviews. And so any interview that if it was, I remember it was Mass Mutual, I think it was Northwestern, any bank that I interviewed, and there was this one bank that came, and it was South Trust. South Trust came, and
I remember South Trust.
I crushed the initial interview. They brought me back for a second interview, and ended up doing they ended up offering me the May or June of graduation. So, I always tell people the funny story is when they offered me like $30,000, $30,000 a year.
Yeah.
And I was so excited because I was like, I can take care of my son.
Yes.
I called my mom. I was like, man, Mom, I got a great offer at a great bank here. It's like the biggest bank in Alabama. It's called South Trust. She's like, South Trust. So she was just completely unimpressed, but she was excited for me that I wasn't going to be on her payroll, right?
Oh yeah.
So I ended up going to South Trust and doing what they do. They call a commercial lending training program.
Okay.
So there was 12 trainees throughout the Southeast, and essentially we do a rotation. And it's kind of funny when I look back. It was 3 black men, 3 white women, and 6 white guys. Great people.
Yeah.
But at that time, clearly South Trust was trying to create, it wasn't DEI, it wasn't all, they wanted a level of diversity in their program. And we all melded, we meshed together as a group. We did rotations, and I did a rotation through what they call mortgage warehouse lending. That was my first introduction into what mortgages were. I didn't even know what that was. I didn't even know if my mom had a mortgage. I didn't even know any of that, right? And so I took a liking to it. And so after the rotation, it was a 6-month rotation where you go through different parts of the bank. And I decided to go to the mortgage warehousing department. So I started out as a commercial mortgage warehouse lending loan officer. What that means is essentially a mortgage warehouse lender funds your large institutional mortgage banks. They basically give them lines of credit. So when Ronnie goes out to buy a house get a mortgage from an individual mortgage company, they have a line of credit. Oh. So let's say a $2 million line of credit, you're doing a $150,000 loan. They use their line of credit to fund your loan. And so we were the bank for the mortgage companies. And so I got to see that side. So I got a great breadth of what mortgage banking was. And I've been a mortgage banker since 1997.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's how I got, that was the front end introduction into mortgage. How I got into retail, Ronnie, was I was flying around the country, understanding cash flow statements, income statements, balance sheets. I was a numbers guy, numbers nerd. And so I'd go around, and this had to be about around 2000. And I'm in the airports. I'm going to Colorado. I'm going to Utah. I'm going to all these places because I have to audit their company. So these guys are millionaires. I'm hosting some young black kid that doesn't, just in the industry, but I have a say in whether or not we renew their $2 million line of credit. Remember, I'm making like $35,000 a year.
Gosh,
millions.
That
right?
contrast. Wow.
And so I learned how to connect with people. I learned quickly how to connect with people and understand people's energy. How do I show up? Do I shrink myself? All of these things, I had to learn how to communicate. I had to learn how to follow up. It shaped who I was as a businessman early.
Yeah.
Very early.
Okay.
And those are same lessons that I take throughout my life. So what I realized, I was like, so what do you do? Let's just say Mr. Jones at the time. So yeah, I help people buy homes, and I get to have these great, I have a great time helping people find the house that they want, and I help them fund it. And so I started getting more and more intrigued about it. And I'm looking at the balance sheet. I'm looking at my personal balance sheet of what I make, and then I'm looking at their balance sheet. And I said, these guys get to be in front of people all the time. They seem like they're having the coolest life, great homes so a lot of times I would go to their homes.
Oh, wow.
They would host me.
Yeah.
Right? And they're trying to put their best foot forward for the bank that's coming in to audit their books. And so, internally, I'm like, man, I'm making this, and I'm just kind of a numbers guy connecting with them. But I realized I love being around people. That's just my personality. And so after a few years, I said, man, that's the side I want to be on. And that's how I got to retail. I started talking to a mentor. And at that point, I went to Compass Bank.
Yeah.
I remember old Compass
I
Bank, which is
know.
now
I
PNC.
did. Yeah.
And so my mentor suggested I come over there and start doing retail if that's what I really want to do. I loved learning about commercial, but it wasn't in my spirit. You know, what was in my spirit was, and later on I understood that this was a mission. I was led to it, to be in retail, dealing with the consumer, making sure that I'm fulfilling lifelong legacy dreams of being a homeowner. Right?
Okay, listen, you cannot leave until I hear more of that.
Yeah. No,
I'll let you get there, but I gotta have that.
That is my that is once I got to that side, I got there because first it was powered by the balance sheet. I was like, I wanted to make more money, right? I was a banker. I loved banking. I didn't want to do anything else. I felt like I was pushed into this by the grace of God. I was, there's a little bit of luck. There's a little bit of happenstance, and it's just situation. I ended up in banking and the mortgage side. But I got into retail mortgage, was really good at it because I understood the back end, I understood the front end, I knew how to talk to people. I was ferocious in terms of follow-up. Remember, I was an athlete, so I was okay being kicked in the teeth or somebody telling me no, getting up and making sure that I was consistent with follow-up. Even if you said no, I was still going to walk in that office next week and say, hey, is I know it's no then, but is it a yes now? So the level of consistency, going to real estate offices. And so I started making a name for myself when I was 24, 25, of just being consistent. I may not get the business. There was so many other great loan officers. But one thing that I realized, that consistency was key.
Yes.
Being there and them seeing you and being in the room and having a smile. And when they say no, they're testing you. They're testing you. Some of these same people that said no for years these people are older than me that they still call me to this day. They're friends but they were testing. No, we don't need you right now. Damian, okay, I'll be back. And now it's a competition for me internally. Remember, I'm thinking about ripping Jason Kidd. Remember that is inside, I'm a competitor. So when you say no, okay, let me study you a little bit more. If I had Jason Kidd again, I guarantee you I would have studied him. I still study him today as a coach because I still remember that moment.
Yeah.
I took the ball from him and he dropped 40 later on that day. So I still study that mentality. So I study the mentality of my referral partner, who end up typically becoming my friends because I study them. So think about that. So I try to teach my kids that. So again, let's talk about why I was led to this. I didn't know why the universe and God was taking me into this field. When I realized, Ronnie, the lack of representation of people that look like me to be able to serve a community that was so underfunded in terms of mortgage finance, in terms of banking. Didn't understand when I'd go to Mobile and my grandmother would go up under a mattress and grab a wad of cash. When I started thinking about the history of banking, we were locked out for years. We're just now having an opportunity. My sons, they not have a bank account. That is so foreign to them.
Right.
But when you look at history, that we were locked out for years. So you think about it. So I can go into the whole history about banking and all that. But what I realized when I started looking at the numbers of Black executives in banking, when I started looking at the numbers of the Black homeownership rate, I started looking at the quality and consistency and the love of the people that are in my profession that look like me, that was not representative. I was led to this role. And that's why I love what I do. People say, man, don't you get tired of the, going out, having to go out and do a loan app? And I said, no, I'm addicted to this thing. I'm addicted to watching a mother watching an individual that had no clue about the process, educate them. And at the end of 30 days, I just changed the whole trajectory and the legacy of their family for generations to come. I've seen it. I've been in the business for 28 years and I've watched it. I've closed loans for people whose kids were when I was in my 20s. These kids are in the office with me, sitting there on whatever they're on at that time, swinging their legs, watching their mom get approved. Their mom's nervous. 15 years later, those same kids that were in the office, I'm doing loans for them now. That when you talk about a level of addiction to watching families grow and building legs, I'm watching people that bought homes 10 years ago coming back buying new homes saying, hey, I want to put down $150,000, $200,000 on this next home. Where are you getting that from? Because they grew equity. They started from zero. Now they got $200,000 to put down on the next home. Man. When you start thinking about that, man, I've changed trajectories and legacies of families. Anybody that's in this space, let me step back for a second. I was at a breakfast yesterday, Ronnie, and an older lady. She is 50. I don't want to guess. You never want to guess a woman's age.
True,
right?
true.
She is 50 years. She's been in the game for 50 years. She told a quick story, and I'll tell you this. And I know we don't have a lot of time, but I have to say this because it informs. It made me realize I connected again back to her story. She doesn't know who I am. I listened to her yesterday at a breakfast, and she said, "Man, I've been in the business for 50 years. 2 years ago, found out that, and I won't say her name, I found out my husband had terminal cancer. It was a liver type cancer. And the only way that he could be cured is get a liver transplant. And the doctor came in and said, hey, the only way we're going to be able to cure your husband is, again, this lady's been in the business at that time 48 years, okay? And you got to come up with $1 million. And if you knew her, you could tell. So yeah, I got that. In her mind, and she said her husband looked at her with like 4 eyes, like, how the heck are you going to get $1 million? We ain't got no $1 million. She went on. Again, I have to suspect she's close to her 70s. She has to be, maybe mid-60s or what have you. She said she had the best year in her career because she was chasing a purpose. She was chasing a purpose. And so again, she went through and everybody was like, wow. And she stopped and she got off. She went through a little bit more iterations of the story. But at the end of the story, Ronnie, what she said was, your purpose has to be bigger than the money. Your purpose has to be bigger than anything else. When you find your purpose, the money will follow. Man, I found my purpose a long time ago, Ronnie. That's why I'm still in the game. It's not about money. My purpose is here to help educate. It's help educate the next entrepreneur, the next business owner that wants to buy a house, to maybe build equity. My purpose is to build legacy. And majority of my clientele, a lot of them are, I have a very diverse clientele, but the majority of my clientele is African-American. Mm-hmm. And so when I look at the numbers, when you look at the disparity in the home ownership rate, this is real. This is just math. This is fact. 75% in the white community. It's, you look at some numbers and some economists will say 41 to 42, 43%. The black community, and it's a little bit higher in the Hispanic community. Yeah. We're the lowest on the totem pole in the black community. So when I start looking at why did I get moved into the retail space and mortgage, I started realizing my purpose. I didn't know this was my purpose, but now I've identified it. So now we're talking about 28 years, where a lot of my competitors 15, 20 years ago got out the game. Mm-hmm. I found my purpose, Ronnie. Yeah. And so I'm here, I'm doing it, I'm loving it. I get up every morning. When I wake up in the morning, not every single morning, but when I go to the gym, usually every other morning, man, but every day I'm listening to mortgage podcasts. I'm trying to understand the nuance of the game that my customer may not know, or I know stuff that's coming a lot of times in this industry before a lot of my competitors. Okay. Because I'm studying it. Again, Jason Kidd, I I'm trying to study the game because I want to perfect it. There are great loan officers out here. I've watched the proliferation of young, vibrant loan officers coming, and I feel like I still can run in the same game with them. So So anyway, my purpose is aligned, and I know what my purpose is. So anyway,
can we park here for a second?
Sure.
Because I just want to share something with you. I have a lot of value for what you just shared, specifically educating a client base that looks like us.
Yes.
I'm gonna take you back if that's okay.
Absolutely.
But I was about to finish college, and there's a gentleman who approached me, went to church with him, and he asked, and for context, I stayed at home during college because I was here.
Yeah.
And for context, he said, "Man, what are you doing after college?" And I already had my job lined up, a place I've been working since high school.
Yeah.
He's like, cool. You're. I said, yeah, I'm set. He's like, where are you gonna live? I was like, I'll get an apartment with a friend of mine, because I did have a friend who was pursuing me to. And I just thought that was the right thing to do.
Sure.
So he said, man, you ever thought of a house? I laughed. It's like, man, no, I got to be older to get a home. Wow. And so he didn't dispute me.
Yeah.
But he kept. To your point, I'm getting tingly thinking about this. I know I'd see him twice a week, Bible study, church. I'd see him, and he'd make himself available, and he'd just plant seeds. And finally, I was like, okay, look, what I got to do. Like in my mind, selfishly, I was like, to get him to stop talking about it.
Sure.
Let me just hear him out. We went to lunch, and I was fast forward. I was able to purchase a home at the age of 25.
Wow.
And I gained an appreciation for that later in life. At the time, it was just like, okay. And what's even more wild was the mortgage I got was about $80 cheaper than the apartment we were looking at. Yeah. So I was learning about equity. I don't know if I digested all of it at that point, but met my wife. We got married and we moved, and that's when the lesson of equity hit me.
You like, wow.
Yes.
Oh, okay. This is what this means.
Yes. So like I remember calling him because I'm like, I don't know what we're gonna do next, but I presume it will be a bigger home in a different location. And when he ran, whatever he ran, he paired me with a real estate professional. When he ran what we had, I was like, say what? Me?
I'm walking signings and I get this check?
Yeah, exactly. So I can definitely feel it when you say that. And I have so much value for people like you because it turned out to be a blessing, because my friends that I grew up with, I'm inviting them to my house and they're walking in like, bro, how did you get this? I'm like, oh man, I got a guy. But I was proud to say I got a guy who just so happens to look like us, who doesn't mind educating and giving you the opportunity if you want it. So when I hear you say that, I think of him, and I'm just like, and sadly, he's not even in lending anymore. But still, like the impact that it's had on me is something that
to your family.
Oh yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
This is a generational
your
impact.
legacy has changed.
Yeah,
you might have bought a house, but you think about how much faster.
Yes.
Growing up again, I know you probably got all the big bucks and all that, but you've changed the trajectory now. As you're talking to your two sons, you're educating them.
Yes.
Talking about credit. They may not even, Dad, why you keep talking about credit card debt? And you're probably already talking because you know the importance of starting early.
Yes.
And that's what you did. I did the same thing.
Okay.
But I stumbled into it.
Yeah.
I was a banker and I stumbled into the same thing.
Yeah.
But I've sent my kids to college on equity. I have invested because of my equity, walking away and walking out of an attorney's office with a 6-figure check because of a decision that you made and took a gamble on. It's life changing.
Yes,
right. And there's many people that are experiencing that. But just think about that. We started experiencing that probably 200-300 years after. First people started being able to do what we're talking about now. So think about that. So there's purpose in what I do. There's purpose in what you do. And you're educating, you're bringing this knowledge to people, man. So, man, I can talk about it. I get chills about it, man. I wake up excited. when I get a new contract, every time I get a new contract in my inbox for somebody purchasing a home, I know they're building legacy.
Oof.
I know they're building legacy.
Yeah.
So, man, I just, I get so excited. I look back at my career, and I'm a leader as well.
Yes.
So I lead other loan officers. I've watched.
Oh, I thought you meant in general. I was
well, that too.
Okay.
But the fact that I've helped people kind of grow their careers, I watched families sprout up. I've been a leader. I've watched me hire somebody. I've watched them get better at what they do. I've watched them get married. I've watched them have kids. I've watched them buy homes, sell homes. So this goes beyond just helping the consumer. I also relish in the fact of being a leader and being consistent and being there to help people coming behind me. This is such an important mission. Back in 2008, during the crisis, the mortgage crisis, there were a lot of people. That was probably the highest percentage. So from a statistic standpoint, there's about 8 to 9% of Black Americans that are in the mortgage space.
Okay. 8
to they say about 9%. Some say 9.
8 point something.
Some people say 8 to 9%. Some will say 9 to 13%, which kind of mirrors the population of the country.
Right.
In executive spaces and leadership spaces, that number goes down to 3 to 6%, which is well. So I represent a very small group of leaders that have been in this space for a long time, that look like me, that are educating folks about the purpose and the reason why mortgage is important, right? So, I feel like I was led here. There's a passion behind this, man, that I can't even articulate on a podcast. I can't articulate it on camera. There is a passion and a fire that I wake up every morning with to do what I do.
Yeah.
This is a purpose. So I've connected my purpose with my passion, and hopefully the money comes.
Damn, I got to ask this. Yeah. Like, it's just in hearing your story, and there's so much value in it. Is there any link to anything you saw growing up that? Because I mean, from what you shared, it sounds like you grew up in a home of sorts. I mean, I'll tell you a quick story. Yeah,
I can tell you what's really informed me. Which again, I found my passion early. Okay, at 20, we talked about buying houses early. I was 24, 25.
Oh, so we in the same club.
Yeah. So I started as a banker as 22, but I didn't buy my first house till I was about 25.
Sure.
So I called I grew up in a community right outside of Sacramento, Citrus Heights. It's a great little community, which I am so thankful for. I was first living in an apartment with my mother, which is she and I in a 2-bedroom apartment. I remember vividly when I was 5, going down the street. My mom was going to surprise me and say, "Hey, I got something to show you." We pull up and it's at night, raining, so I still remember the trees. I remember, at that time I was into horror movies, so it looked like, Godzilla, and, I'm like, what are all these trees, So we're going down this street, and we stop, and my mom grabs a key, opens up a door, and she said, go pick your room. I was like, wow, I still remember it vividly to this day. I tell that story every time I do a home buyer counseling. So I walk in, so I'm 5. I do all the things from 5 to 18 that a young boy you can think of, from mischief in the backyard, crawling on the roof. In my community, the houses were so close, you can hear somebody eating dinner next. Like, you can hear the cleaning of people eating. That's how close the houses were. So I'd always, so all of this, fast forward, I'm 25. So I graduate, I'm 18. I go off to college, do all this. And the story about me going, playing basketball and all that. 25, I get ready to buy my first house. And what did you do? You leaned on somebody who went through the experience. You talked about your OG and your mentor. So I called my mom. I said, "Mom," "man, it was an amazing experience. I still remember when we moved into the house, my mother that you're still in today." I said, "Explain this story. Tell me how you got in. Tell me about the mortgage process." I said, "I'm in mortgage, but I've never seen it from this side. So I want you to kind of explain it to me." She said, "I'm not sure what you're talking about." I said, "What are you talking about?" I said, the house that I grew up in, when did you buy that house? Tell me about your process. So, baby, I've never owned this house. She never owned the house. She never had a mortgage. She never got a mortgage, right? Brilliant woman, worked at the hospital. But she couldn't explain to me the process. The one person that I looked up to my whole life about being a homeowner was my mother. And I'm finding out at 25 when I get ready to buy my house, she wasn't a homeowner.
Yeah, wow.
She wasn't informed. Somebody didn't teach her. Somebody didn't tell her, like, you got a great job, you got great credit, it's time to buy a house. $300,000, $400,000 later, I'm talking to my mom because she's paid all this rent. I said, Mom, you could have bought that house. So the moral of the story is, and when you start talking about the passion and what's informed me, what I remember is the memories.
Yes.
That house created so many memories, Ronnie. Yeah. But my mom didn't own the home. So I would be remiss in saying, if she ever lost that home and we lost all those memories and I couldn't help her buy that home, I would have failed as a leader. In my mind, I helped my mom buy that house.
Oh, wow.
So the house that my mom still owns to this day is a house that I grew up in since I was 5 years old. She bought the house around the same time I bought my first house. Your own mother. So you're talking about a story that ties purpose, legacy, your personal history, all these things. So that's what informed me, right? So I told you all the stuff, and I'm glad you asked that question, because it really gets to kind of this epicenter of who I am and what I personally experienced.
Yes.
Is what that home did to me, the feeling of safety, having my own room to call my own. Now, the other people on my street, my friends, they own their homes. When I think back, though, they sat at the dinner table with mom, dad, and kids, and they're having their salads and all that. It was just me and my mom, right? But I didn't realize she rented that home. So the comforts of home is not just a mortgage. That home is what, in my mind, if I never asked my mom and I just bought a home, I would just gone through life thinking that, hey, man, this is a legacy play. She's going to pass me the house down. But now I know I needed to help her to understand what the importance of ownership and what equity meant and all those things. So that's what connected.
Damian.
So great question.
It's
great
like
question.
you said, but that gives me the foundation for the mission for you.
Yes, that's it. That's it. That's it.
Oh my gosh.
That's where that's at the end. That's at the epicenter, man. That's it.
And I just the blessing I see of it is, yeah, you're empowering people on a daily basis. But I think about your 3 sons.
Yes.
They better get ready, because the wisdom that their dad has.
I appreciate it.
Yes, man.
I don't know if they get it yet.
Okay,
but
well, I feel you on that.
Yeah.
But it inspires me.
Thank you.
As a father as well.
Thank
and I gotta keep chopping wood, as we say. And
that is what I say every day.
Yes, man, chopping wood. Mm-hmm. And I can't focus on if they're getting it or not. I just got to trust the process and the consistency. Man. That was a gem you gave us.
Thank you.
I'm gonna ask you one last question before I let you get out of here. When you think about consistency, I know you say you attribute a lot of it to your athletic background as an athlete, things like that. What would you say to somebody who struggles with consistency?
That's a powerful question. It's a powerful question. I still have to go back to purpose. I think you have to find it, because I think if you have a challenge with consistency, and if we're talking business, you're talking about family, you're talking about consistency in being in relationships, consistency at work. If you find the purpose around whatever issue you're having inconsistency around, I think you find it. So I think you have to search for that. The one thing that a lot of people don't know about me is, again, I am thirsty for knowledge. So what that does is I'm reading all the time. I'm listening to the podcast. I'm trying to understand the stories of people to try to understand how purpose aligns, right? So I don't think if I was purpose driven or purpose focused, I couldn't say that I would be as consistent in what I do. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So every time I wake up, there is a purpose as to why. Like, if I don't get to the office in and answer that phone of the young lady that's looking to buy this house in the next 30 days, or if I don't get to the office and answer the phone of one of my loan officers that having a problem with a client or a loan that they're trying to get to closing to help somebody else start their own legacy, there's a purpose behind that. So that it's more of a generalized way of looking at it, is that your purpose has to be to create that consistency will come, because I'm excited every morning. Every day I get up, the purpose is there, which is driving the consistency. So my nugget to anybody, and that's what I'm trying to teach my sons, is find your purpose, man. Just find it. You may stumble into it. I stumbled into mine.
Yeah.
It was a little bit of luck. I didn't come out of college saying I want to be a mortgage lender that's funding $25 million a year to families. I didn't come out with that, but I stumbled into it by a little bit of luck, and just kind of trying to understand and information seeking and trying to zero in on my purpose. And I zeroed in on it early.
Yeah.
I was lucky.
Wow.
I was lucky. So purpose and consistency have to go hand in hand.
Right.
Because if you don't have any purpose, you're going to be just kind of in the wind.
It's simple.
Right?
You'll show up for the things that
absolutely
that you're purposeful about.
Exactly.
Wow.
Man. That is my nugget.
Okay, thank you for that.
No, thank you.
Damian, the name of this podcast is Off Script, and it sometimes can be at least a double or triple entendre.
I got you.
But with you, Damian, the value that I see is you talk about, and I'm just gonna take pieces of what I digested, but you talk about a young man who had Pac-10 dreams, and that didn't happen. You had to go off script. Going off script brought you to Birmingham, of all places. Man, I went to Sacramento for the first time last April to visit a close friend of mine. It's just one of those things, like I was blown away. I'd never been there before. And I'm thinking about you doing the exact opposite. I can't imagine what you thought when you got here. Right? Wow. I get it. Yeah. But man, you're so many elements of your story. You either had to go off script or you did, or maybe 100%. Those are synonymous. Yeah. From the birth of your sons. I mean, Damian, like life was just throwing things at you.
That's right.
But when I look at where you are now, man, I have so much value in your journey.
Thank you, man.
And those off script moments that you showed, but like the fortification of your character in those moments, man, a lot of guys that look like us would have given up.
Absolutely.
We see it. We know about it.
Right.
But when I look at you, Damian, I'm thinking, man, what excuse do I have?
Hey, man, listen, I feel the same way about you. And I say the off-script moments is what builds the man and builds the character, right? Those moments where you're like, man, you just stumble into and you realize, hey, that road was the wrong road, or at night when you're stressed about something, those off-script moments are what build what people see. My off-script moments, to your point, my mother not owning a home, which was a very sensitive situation for me and maybe an embarrassing moment for her, right? That was an off-script moment. Now she's a homeowner. She's got a home overseas. Me having a son in college, that's an off-script moment. But it built character. It built a semi-purpose right then. I knew I had to get a job to make sure he was taken care of. But I think it's so apropos, right? And the last thing that I'll say is to anybody, and I try to tell this to my sons, I say it to you, I say to anybody, have a level of emotional and intellectual curiosity about everything. I have an emotional curiosity. Like when I see somebody angry, I'm like, I wonder why they're angry. I'm like, why are they so emotional? And then I have to check myself. Sometimes I get elevated. Like, why am I so emotional? I'm so blessed. And then I have an intellectual curiosity about just things. When I walk around, like I walked down, I said, tell me about this building. Like, okay, I understand. When I got to Birmingham, I didn't realize this is who I was. When I got to Birmingham in the 90s, I started studying. I realized I love history because, man, I'm in the epicenter of one of the most historic places on earth. I'm in Birmingham, Alabama. So intellectual curiosity drove me into different places. Now I travel. I've taken my sons across the globe. We go to, I'm always in Africa, man, just because I'm still trying to understand my all these things about transatlantic slave trade, all these things, right? I'm curious. So my emotional curiosity is what's tied me to people. My intellectual curiosity has helped me understand those people in the context of the place that they live. Wow. Those two things together, bro, is next level for me, man. Yeah. So, man, I appreciate you. The off script is to have that, to have that as a topic or the name and title of your podcast. Man, if people really took the off script and really started understanding, hey, man, when people aren't looking, when I'm in the shower, I think I can sing. I found
you honestly, too.
I found out that I love. And don't call me on it. But I love to sing, man. I love to sing. I'm a big what do you call it? I forgot. I'm losing the term, but I love parodying Bob Marley.
Okay.
I love Bob Marley. Like, I grew up. I don't have the voice of Sade, but I love Sade. Cherish the Day.
Yes, come on now.
But man, I love to sing. Now, I don't think I could sing in a choir. But those are my off-script moments. So I'm like, man, I kind of like this, you know. So those are the moments that build you, man. So anyway, man, thank you for having me, man. I'm super pumped that you even allowed me to be here.
Thank you.
To share my story and share our energy this morning.
Yes, man. Damian, thank you. And for all those watching and listening, thank you for listening to Off Script. Again, this is Damian Gilbert, the Damian Gilbert.
Oh,
man. Make sure you stay connected, subscribed, or whatever I'm supposed to say to Off Script for the next guest. Thank you for listening.
Appreciate you.